Hey everybody, Chris AMS, hope you're all well. Welcome to another video, hope you're having a great day. Today we have a Ford Focus and it's got the ABS light on. No drivability issues, but we need to work out why the light's on and rectify it for the customer. So follow along, don't forget to like and subscribe, I really appreciate it. Let's get into it. Right, so we carried out a code scan. We've used the Snap-on Zeus to carry out a scan of the vehicle. As you can see, we've got lots of fault codes in the ABS system. Rear right wheel speed sensors, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those codes. The left rear wheel speed sensor and a steering wheel position sensor signal compare failure. So let's have a look on live data. So I always tend to go fault codes, live data, and then we'll go to component testing. So we need to see whether our wheel speeds are actually being seen by the ABS module. So let's have a look. So I cleared the fault codes out of the ABS system, and we've got two current fault codes that won't clear, the left rear wheel speed sensor and the right rear wheel speed sensor. So we'll come into live data. Let's find live data. And what I like to do, we've got a lot of data there. What we're going to do is we're going to customize our list. So we're going to deselect all that stuff. And we're going to come down and we're going to have a look at all 4 wheel speeds on there, and we're going to graph them. So something interesting to note, that our right rear wheel speed sensor is currently seeing 255 mile an hour. And our left rear speed sensor is seeing 255, kilometers an hour. And our fronts are reading 0 and 0. Now, I've got the front wheel off and connected to a scope because I want to show you what a known good waveform looks like before we go off to the back and have a look at the rear. So if I turn the wheel, we can actually see on our scan tool on the live data, this is what the ECU is seeing, is that we're seeing wheel speed. Yeah, okay, so we're going to go round to the back in a sec and we're going to spin the rear wheel and you can have a look. So the rear right is this top one, so I'll show you the rear right one and then we'll see what we've got now. My lovely assistant Debbie McGee is at the back of the vehicle. He's going to spin the wheel for me and then we're going to have a look at rear right one, and it's still stuck at 255 and it's not producing any graphing at all. So our next step in testing is we know that we need to go and start testing at the component level. We're not just going to replace bits on fault codes alone. So let's get the scope on and let's see what we can see. So using E3 Technical, which is our kind of primary source for technical data currently. We've got wiring outputs for our various speed sensors, and it's telling us that we've got pin 2 should be grounded and should measure between 0 and 0.2 of a volt. And how this sensor works is it uses it superimposes the sensor signal onto the power supply that goes back to the ECU, not the ground. All right, so if we measure at pin 1 of the sensor, that's where we're going to see our sensor signal. So let's have a look at the vehicle. So pin 1 on, so I'm just using the front right wheel as an example so you can see what a good one looks like before we go looking for the bad one. We've back probed into pin 1 on the sensor on the multi-plug, and the sensor's connected. And we've grounded using our Power Pro extendy wire up to the battery, so we know we've got a good ground. Now, with the oscilloscope set to 20 volts, we can see there that we've got 11 point something volts. We've got battery voltage sat there, so we know that we've got battery voltage coming down from the ABS ECU down to that sensor. All right, So what we're going to do, we want to have a look for sensor signal. Also what we'll do is what it asks us to do as well is to, if we go into pin 2, you see there we should have between 0 and 0.2 of a volt. So we've got nylon sod all there, so we're happy, that's all right, but we can check that additionally to make sure it's grounding well in a minute. So, right, we've got 12 volts there. What we're going to do with our oscilloscope is we're going to change that to AC coupling, put that down to, let's call it 2 volts for the minute. We'll move that up in the middle, so you can see that better, and then I'm going to spin the wheel. So if I spin the wheel, what you'll see is a sensor signal. Now, each one of those bumps represents the sensor passing by the reluctor ring that's built into the bearing on these, and obviously the more bumps it sees, the quicker the wheel's spinning. So that's what we're looking for on a good sensor. So we've got a vehicle up in the air, and inside there, as you can see, is our ABS sensor. Screws into the back of the wheel bearing. On this particular one, the blue wire there should be our 12 volts and the brown wire is our ground. They both run to and from the ABS ECU. So we're going to carry out exactly the same test as we did on the front, and then that, so we know we've got what a good one looks like. I've shown you what the good one looks like, so we can now got a comparison and we can show you what this one's doing. So we've got a back probe. We're going to back probe pin 1, and if we look on our scan tool, remember we're doing a voltage test first. There we go, we've got our battery voltage listed there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to leave that in the back of pin 1 for the time being, and we're going to change that down to 2 volts, and we're going to hit AC coupling. We're going to move that up to the middle so you can see it. Now Phil's going to spin the wheel again, and we've got sod all, no signal being produced whatsoever. Now this could still be a mechanical issue with the bearing and it not picking up or not producing a signal from the reluctor ring, or it could be an electrical fault with the sensor. So now we obviously need to test a bit more and prove that. Oh, what happened there? That's gone all spiffy. Why did I do that for? Bit of a bad connection. What's that doing there? Spin it. So it's kind of half working, I think. So yeah, that to me, I think that sensor is definitely knackered, and it's producing some weird shit that we shouldn't be seeing. That, you remember on the front one we had a nice square waveform. That's not very good looking. So let's have a look at it with the sensor out, or look at one with the sensor out, and we can test it with the sensor out with the vehicle. Right, here's the sensor out, because we've found that both rear sensors are faulty, or appears to be faulty. So the reluctor ring passes across the top of the sensor with metal inside the reluctor ring, that then basically activates a magnetic switch inside the sensor, on and off kind of thing, so which produces a voltage. So if we run a bit of metal over, so we can use this ratchet for now, and we just hold that against the back there and rub that across the front of it, we should be seeing a signal, and we're not. Alternatively as well, what we could try is, this is a big magnet, we can do the same with a magnet and see if that produces any form of signal, which that doesn't either. So I'm pretty happy to say that we've got a faulty sensor. Now one last thing I want to check is to make sure that with the ground side of the sensor's okay. So we're going to unplug that sensor and we're just going to check the ground side of it. If the ground sides are right, then we're going to nail it for 2 sensors. Right, so in order for us checking the ground, what we're going to use is test light, incandescent test light. We're into the positive side of our power probe lead that comes off the positive of the battery. We're going to the brown wire, which is pin 2, which is the ground side, and if we go into there, we can see we've got good ground. Ground between there and the ECU is okay. So we can confirm happily that the wiring is okay, and that we can see that there's no signal being emitted by the sensor. So we're going to put 2 sensors on this, and then we'll retest, obviously, to prove the fix. So the new sensors are in. Let's check the codes and make sure that they're clear. So we'll go into a management system. We're going to hit clear codes, and it's cleared. Now, if you remember from before, the codes would not disappear, the permanent codes. And now we've got no codes present. Great stuff. So now, as an extra check, we're going to go into live data. We're going to look at what our live data is doing. If we customize our list again, deselect all the way down to the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4. List view. Actually, custom graph view. Right, so before as well, if you remember, that on our rear, that's rear right, that's left rear, they were on 255, each one of those, so stuck at 255 mile an hour. So, if we look, if we do rear right to start with, there we go. Now we get a nice graph there. And we do the left rear, let's give that a spin. There we go, nice, good graph there. So, final test will be a test drive. Let's go and give it a test drive, make sure all the lights stay out, and if they do, we can complete another one. So we're back from our test drive, and happy days, no warning lights are now coming up on the dashboard. So, we've proven the fix, we've carried out the repair, and we've tested the repair using our test don't guess method. Really hope you like the video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. If you want to see more of our videos, or when they come out, hit the little bell button and you'll be notified when they come out. Check out some of our other social media. We're on Facebook and Instagram as well, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care.